The Washington Post has learned of the specific details on a deal that AT&T had with Michael Cohen. Of course, that's Trump's fix-it lawyer who is now under federal investigation. Now, AT&T had paid Cohen $600,000 and they had a specific reason for doing so. The internal documents reveal for the first time that Cohen's $600,000 deal with AT&T specified that he would provide advice on the $85 billion merger with Time Warner. Now, this is a proposed merger that the Justice Department is fighting against. But of course, AT&T wanted to get some inside knowledge into what the Trump administration was thinking to see if they could get away with doing this merger. Now, what we also know, based on this Washington Post report, is that a scope of work describing Cohen's contract, I should say, in an internal AT&T document shows that he was hired to, quote, focus on specific long-term planning initiatives as well as the immediate issue of corporate tax reform and the acquisition of Time Warner.
So that's interesting in two ways. So who was Michael Cohen before being Trump's lawyer, who mainly worked to both intimidate people who would constantly threaten lawsuits and yell at them and sometimes go even further in his threats? Plus, he was a fixer who would pay off people that Donald Trump had slept with, obviously, right? He was a personal injury lawyer in New York, and he ran a taxi cab business. So what possible expertise could he have on a telecommunications merger? He's never worked in that field at all. So now that we find out exactly what AT&T paid him for, now we know, basically, they paid him to make sure that he goes, talks to Trump and says, approve the merger. Because he has no expertise. That's the only thing Michael Cohen's good for. Did AT&T need taxi cabs driven in New York? Were they the victim of a personal injury? Okay, no. He was supposed to go and influence the president, but this is fun and amusing part of the story. Now, Michael Cohen's not a registered lobbyist. So if he was to spend his time lobbying for AT&T, that would be illegal. So the contract said, now this is not for lobbying anyone. I don't know if they included the wink in the contract. They described his work as advising the company and not contacting federal officials. If Michael Cohen is not contacting Trump or people in the Trump administration, what good is he?
Right, exactly. He's not qualified to do the consulting that he would allegedly do for that $600,000. And it's clear that AT&T had a political objective here. They had a business objective that Cohen could help them with because of his proximity to Trump. And so who knows what's gonna come of all of this, but again, he is not a registered lobbyist, meaning he is not allowed to do any lobbying. So if an investigation finds that he did do lobbying, I don't know if he'll face any consequences, to be honest. I've kind of given up hope when it comes to all that stuff.
No, Mueller's got him. So I think that Cohen is in some trouble. I think this is among the reasons why at some point he'll probably flip. But by the way, somebody at AT&T should also be held accountable. They clearly hired him as a lobbyist. It's super obvious that they did. I mean, I love this part of the contract. They directed him to, quote, creatively address political and communications issues.
What does that even mean?
What is that creatively? In other words, creatively find a way to lobby Donald Trump while we're pretending you're not a lobbyist, and we're giving you $600,000 for that. I mean, really, because of Michael Cohen's telecommunications expertise, not even anyone wearing a MAGA hat believes that. That's absolutely preposterous. By the way, on January 12th of 2017, both Michael Cohen and AT&T's chief executive Randall Stephenson were seen visiting Trump Tower in New York days before the contract with Michael Cohen's company, Essential Consultants, was signed. But they said, no, we didn't run into each other, and that was just a coincidence that we go and see Trump on the same day. A couple of days later, we give Michael Cohen a $600,000 contract, but not for lobbying, and we don't know each other. It just kind of, we thought, who was the top telecommunications expert in the country? Probably Michael Cohen. I learned that in a taxi cab. So that's why AT&T did this. Look, by the way, AT&T, the people who made that decision, again, there should be consequences, but also incredibly stupid, because you can legally bribe people all day long in this country. It's called a campaign donation. It's super PACs, independent expenditures, there's dark money. There's 1,000 different ways you could funnel money to Donald Trump. Instead, you found one potentially illegal way to give it to his schmuck of an attorney and you know what, this is Dinesh D'Souza-like incompetence, and he went to prison for violating campaign laws. So I think this investigation should be broader and should involve the people on the other end of it too. And I'm not saying that it's Randall Stevenson. I think that, you know, Washington Post has the contract. It's important and interesting. They should figure out who signed that contract for AT&T, who authorized that contract for AT&T. It's pathetic that these guys who spend tens of millions of dollars legally bribing our politicians and buying them off through their super PACs, etc., on top of that, rubbed it in by doing potentially illegal contributions to Donald Trump's lawyer. And I hope that they all suffer the consequences. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.